Why does the government want to keep you real estate poor? I have a couple of examples next. Yes, before we jump into that, I'm going to go over existing home sales for January. Boom, I think we hit it out of the park, and we're showing that we're gaining momentum. We're going to go over that next, all on Real Estate Daily. Welcome, everyone. My name is Troy, and every day we go over the latest news in real estate, housing, and the mortgage market. Now, before I jump into it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I want to grow this channel. I want to show you how you need to get wealth, how you can achieve wealth in your family by purchasing a home. If you guys are interested in any of my guides, I have a buyer's guide below, I have a seller's guide below. Click the link, and then that will send you to a landing page. Enter your information, and I will email that out directly to you. Now, let's jump right into it. Housing Wired, I've seen this on several different sites. It says existing home sales make a comeback in January, according to National Association of Realtors. Now, what's happened is that we had seen a dip in sales now, but sales are we're really down already. And so it didn't really make a difference in the fourth quarter, even though we saw them. But in January, we saw that bump back up. People wanted to get out of that mode of the holidays, and they wanted to get back out there selling. And so we've been seeing a lot of buyers hit the market. Now, I'm always boots on the ground for the moment, and I've noticed that we're seeing a slower February than most. Usually, this is what a January feels like in February, and a February that feels like in January. So it's kind of flip-flop. We see a little momentum in January usually, and then actually more momentum in February, and then it keeps going up. But I think this year is a little bit different in the respect that there's a lot of anticipation that the Fed was going to lower rates, and they didn't lower rates. And in fact, we've just seen several different things that came out and gave them a little more scare of lowering rates too soon. Now, we know that they raised rates way too late, and you know, every indication shows there's lowering rates way too slowly, and that they're going to do it all at once, just like they did by raising rates. Now, why do I say this? Because the Fed will not pivot over real estate. They don't care. And real estate isn't one of the major indices that they actually look at. In fact, you know, when you look at the CPI, even though real estate is one of the largest amount, it's all done via non-factual information. And I know you're saying, well, what does that mean, Troy? What is non-factual information? Well, they're not looking at how many homes were sold, or, you know, what our sales are, or what are rents. They're only looking at opinions. So they send opinions out. They send out what feelers are out there, and those opinions are making the decisions for them. There's no factual numbers. And then, of course, every single year they keep recalculating it differently. So depending on what they want to show as a CPI is what happens. And that's why I've said it many, many times over. Our unemployment rate is so much greater than what they show out there. Yet, when we keep looking at the numbers, the government is hiring more than half of the people every single month. And it's ridiculous. In the past, we never even calculated the government jobs. It wasn't even put in there. But as of late, they put them right back in there. And now they're showing that they're the ones that's keeping up, prompting the economy, which is ridiculous, okay? And that's one of the prongs that the Fed keeps going back to. Oh, we got a strong economy. Guys, we don't have a strong economy. All we do is we keep seeing all our, people that are having 2 or 3 or 4 jobs. We do see the numbers show that the amount of full-time jobs continues to go down and the amount of part-time jobs continue to go up. But they haven't been really taking that in consideration. And that's where my point to you guys is that the reasoning why we have a softening February is because the rates went up, because the Fed has now said they're not pivoting anytime soon because they don't see a reason to. I say, just like in November of 2021, where they blew it completely and didn't raise rates and the market overheated, now it's going to they have to wait till it breaks the back of the market. And when you see so many companies continue to come out and say they're laying people off, but that has no effect on has zero effect on the unemployment rate, you know there's something wrong. It doesn't pass the eye test. All right. Next. This is what I feel is happening in society. And the younger you are, the more naive you become, and the more you become a socialist Marxist. Why do I say that? And a lot of you are like, what the hell, Troy? Now it becomes political. I am telling you now, your wealth is based from, I should say, the majority of Americans' wealth has been based upon them buying and owning a home and living in that home for many, many years. That's what it is. Unfortunately, they've made it so unaffordable, okay, that it's hurting. Now you're saying, well, Troy, the government to make unaffordable is becoming, it's becoming the market. It's the supply and demand. Well, yes, but the government has a supply and demand issue. And when I say I don't want them involved, I do want them involved to subsidize new home builds and even subsidize existing. In California here, I think the governor, only one thing he's ever done right. I think he's a big scam artist, Slick Willie. I think that should be his name. But what he has done is, and in fact, he fought it and he stole the money from it, but he's been called out and he had to give the money back, is the California Dreamer program. He was giving 20% down for people who participated and qualified for it. Now, this happened a year ago, and it really brought a lot of Californians in, right? So they were able to, if you put 20% down, they have no PMI, no mortgage insurance, and they had a significantly lower rate. So a lot of people qualified for homes. Now, what does that do good for our government? Well, number one, you put them, they see appreciation. So they're not granting you the money, they're letting you borrow the money, and they have a 20% position in the house. Now, this is the future of real estate. It's fractionalized real estate. Someone owns it, but bits and pieces are owned by other entities and private citizens. And that's, I think, the future. But right now, the government is stepping in. Why can't we do that? Why are we seeing headlines like this? The new holy grail in housing crisis, statewide rent caps. Okay, everyone here should be owning a house. See all these people right here? There you go. See all these people right here? They all should be owning a house. They all should be working towards owning a house. If that is not their major consent, is that goal in life, well, then you live with what you want and what you do. And if you're sitting here saying, well, the other capitalists that are out there that bought a house, turned around, didn't sell it, but then moved up to another house because they got raises and they had a ton of equity, and now they're renting their house out. Now all these people are sitting around going, oh, I don't want my rent to go up. It's got to cap it. Are you kidding me? You should own a house. Get off your ass. Figure out how to own a house. Okay? Otherwise, what are you going to leave when you die? What's going to be your legacy? Okay? Rent? I'm a renter, man. What is rent? One way or the next, you're paying either your mortgage or someone else's mortgage. That's how it goes. What side do you want to be on? Okay? This is Real Estate Daily. I want to give you guys a heart-to-heart conversation, because if you're not the part of the people that want to own a home, stop bitching about rent then. Because you want the government to run your life. And if you want the government to run your life, they will run you into the ground and make you a slave. And yes, I said it, a slave to the government. Next thing you know, they're going to tell you how much food you can have, how much gas you can put in your car. And then they're going to break it all down and make you own nothing, and you will like it because you won't have to do much in society and be a participant in society. Stay home, play video games, but never get anywhere in life until one day you wake up and say, yes, I'm owned by something or someone else. I'm going to tell you how much gas, ESG, you can put in the atmosphere. You eat a cow, I'm going to give you less money. You eat a bug, I'm going to give you more money. And you can't save any of that money. You have to spend it all. It's the future. It's called CBDC. That's for another show. This is ridiculous. You know what? Go find a plan. Get off your ass. Stop being a renter. All right, next. Same thing, guys. This has turned into a complete mess. Trump civil fraud case. What fraud? Okay, what fraud? Okay, everybody in the US that owns a house, okay, and especially if you own a business or a house in New York, you should be scared. Because if you overstate, if you state what your house is worth and the government doesn't agree with you, okay, let me say again, doesn't agree with you, they can go after you. Again, back to Marxism, back to communism, this is what it is. You're telling me nobody got hurt, okay? The loans were all repaid. So this is all, let me break it down. So Trump says, oh, I think my property's worth $400 million. I want to borrow $200 million, okay? So what does a good lender do? What does all lenders do? For the last 100 years, what have they done? Well, we're going to get it appraised. We're going to get the value, what we think it is, because we're going to give you, and this number can change, 50% of what you think it's worth, okay? So if we don't agree with you at 400,000, we think it's worth 300,000, we'll lend you 150 million bucks, okay? That's what we've been doing for years, okay? Not only this happened, that Trump borrowed money, but he paid the whole thing back, okay? Paid it all back. But because the state of New York says on a civil trial, not a criminal trial, a civil trial, hey, by the way, we don't think what you stated initially, what it was worth, 400 million, even though you paid back the loan, that the lender went on the stand and said, they paid us back, we have no problems. The title company, we paid us back, no problems. We don't care what he thinks it's worth. That's a debate he can have around a barbecue. Who gives a shit, right? The state of New York is freaking out. You know, we're now seeing a lot of huge investors saying we're never going to go back into the state of New York and we're not going to invest. In fact, some of them, if I am personally, or anyone any big major insurance company, I would never insure anything that's happening in New York right now, because this can happen anywhere. Now, not only did the dumbass judge and the DA of New York, I don't even remember her name, all she could care about is a political consequence. She doesn't care about New Yorkers. Think about this. Because if a New Yorker decides that his business is worth more money than someone let him borrow, that means a civil case can be brought against him for his beliefs, even though it didn't hurt anyone, caused no losses to nobody. You can turn around and lose your house, lose anything that you say. Even the governor was like, whoa, hold on for a second here. This isn't going to happen anymore. Bullshit. The civil lawsuits will then start to fly, and it will become extremely ugly. That's why insurance carriers are now got that big panic wall up. I saw several of them. I saw what Mr. Wonderful say, I will never go back to New York City. This is a victimless crime. It's a victimless, witch hunt. That's what it is. There's no victim here. The only victim is the state I'll call politicizing this whole thing. Every person in the US should be scared. This is what happens when they only care about where their party is going and they don't care about their citizens. God bless New York. It is going down in a big fury fire, and it's going down hard with all the people, all the illegal immigrants rolling in there. We're having all this time and money spent on going after, the other side of the political spectrum. This is what happens when you've lost control of your state and you have witch hunts like this. Guys, this needs to change. If you own a piece of land or any kind of property, this is what you're seeing out there. Socialism at its very, very best. People wanting the government to come in and control their life. And just like with anything, you allow them in saying, well, only on this part, Troy, only on this part. Well, then only on the part where it comes down to, oh yeah, they're charging me too much for gas. Or only on the part that they're going to charge me too much for food. Only on the part where they're charging me too much for insurance. You're becoming boxed in. Okay. That's not what this country was built on. Enough said. All right, let's jump into The rates, we saw them go down yesterday, about 3 basis points on conforming, about 7 basis points on FHA. Again, I predicted that somewhere in the first quarter will be under 6. Guys, we were pretty far away at this point from being under 6. We have to see something major happen, even an outage, AT&T outage and Verizon outage, which I've heard so many different bullshit stories on that right now. Of course, we heard sun flare. Now we're hearing software issue, but we haven't heard the whole, we've been hacked kind of thing, right? Well, I don't know, man. I don't believe a whole lot of what's going on. I just know that I think I keep seeing this preparation for hackers to come in and really hurt us in different ways. So keep that in mind. I know I want to stick to real estate, and every article here is real estate related. Okay? If you want to be in real estate, have a plan. If you're not in there yet, have a plan. You guys take care, and I will see you on Monday.